Got my coffee here. Had to be fully caffeinated this weekend because I've been up like around 6 a.m. both Saturday and Sunday for some amazing live streams with some fantastic booktubers. Let's talk about the week ending July 14th, 2024. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Nikhil with Shelf-Esteem. I'm a composer and also now a booktuber. You can find some of my music in the Wheel of Time Season 2, His Dark Materials Season 3, and the official Brent Week's companion album for series Lightbringer. I wanted to talk a little bit about the amazing things that happened this week. I got a chance to have a couple of great live streams with some booktubers. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later in this video, but first let's talk about what I read this week. So a couple of these books I'm actually reading on Kindle, so I'm going to post those thumbnails here. But the first book that I really got a lot of kind of page count in is The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. So I've been hearing about this book for about 5 years. Ever since I first started watching Booktube back in 2019, I'd heard about this book and the beautiful prose and the amazing storyline, the magic system, the world building. And I was always hesitant to read it, honestly, because, everybody knows that Patrick Rothfuss's third book, The Doors of Stone, still hasn't any mention of when that's going to come out. And it's been quite a while since Wise Man's Fear, which was the second book, came out. So I was always a little bit trepidous about jumping into the King Killer Chronicle. But I'm really glad I did because I'm having a really good time so far. I'm about 400 pages out of the 650 or so some odd pages in. So I'm about two-thirds of the way through almost. And I will say, I really like the world building. I like the character development. I will say that the character development was a little slow at the in the first half. And I kind of wasn't sure how I felt about that because I'm very much a character first kind of reader. But I'm really glad I stuck with it because I think it's really getting interesting now and kind of seeing Kvot's development as he enters this kind of school and his adventures there. So I'm loving it so far, and I'm really excited to finish that off, in the coming week. The second book I got a chance to read, maybe about 70, 80 pages of, was Children of Time by Adrian Tchaikovsky. So this has been on my list for a while. I was actually originally going to buddy read it with a filmmaker friend of mine, but he's been really busy. He's actually writing a novel right now. So I'm very excited to read that when it's done. But in the meantime, he's kind of taking a break from reading so he can kind of buckle down and focus on that novel, which I'm really excited for him for. So I'm kind of just, journeying alone on the Children of Time journey. So I've read about 70, 80 pages. And I gotta say, like the juxtaposition, I'm not gonna try to spoil anything, but the juxtaposition between, and I'll just say one more thing is the back cover says this particular thing about there being two different species that are mentioned. So no spoilers there. The juxtaposition of these two species against each other from different POVs. It's just fascinating. I've never seen that in a sci-fi novel before. And I'm really enjoying the journey so far. I think it's I see what the hype is all about. I see always it gets rave reviews from people. The second and third book, I think it's Children of Ruin and Children of Memory in that series. Don't quite get as much recognition as the first book, but the first book always has rave reviews across the board. So I was very excited to kind of read it, and I actually like my hard science in science fiction. So it's been really great kind of getting to dive into Adrian Tchaikovsky's work. I've seen a lot of his series, in Barnes and Noble whenever I'm walking by, and the covers look beautiful, as is evidenced by this one in this thumbnail here. So I've been kind of looking forward to diving in and checking out some of his work, but I'm really enjoying it so far. Still a little bit early. This is like a 600-page book, so it'll be some time before I get through all of it, but I'll keep you all posted here how it goes in this coming week as I continue on that journey. And then the last book that I read over this past week, and I'm not that far into it, maybe about 100 pages or 150 pages, and it's a behemoth. It's another 1,000+ page chunk, or almost 1,100 pages, and that is to round out my Ken Follett trilogy experience, Edge of Eternity. So I just love this cover, by the way. They're always very uniform covers in this trilogy. I got them from a library book sale for like $1 each, so pretty amazing steal here. And I've talked about this trilogy quite a bit on this channel. It tracks 5 families across multiple generations as they're swept up in world events. So the first book took place around World War I, the women's suffrage movement, and the Russian Revolution. The second book took place from like 1929 through about 1949, so through World War II, the rise of Hitler's Nazi Germany, the rise and fall, rather. And fascinating book. And now this is the third book, which is from the 1960s, I think 1961 through like 1989 or 1990, something like that. So roughly almost 100 years of history really covered in those first three. Everybody tells me that this book is not as good as the first two. I don't know. I'm loving it. I'm already invested in the characters. You're already kind of seeing some talk about the Cuban Missile Crisis, the Bay of Pigs, and it's really fun to experience history through these characters' POVs because they're swept up in world events. So not only are they seeing it from the ground floor as an observer, but sometimes they're seeing it as a participant. There's Nikita Khrushchev's one of his, I think, aides or something is a POV in this book. Really fascinating stuff. So highly recommend you check out this series if you haven't heard my million times talking about it on this channel so far. But I've gotten, about 10% of the way through, and I'm excited to continue on this journey this week. So I've been trying to divide it up a little bit because, with fantasy, I love the world building, I love the character development, but sometimes, especially a book like Name of the Wind, it's meant to be savored. You can't just like rush through it. And so I want to be able to kind of savor Patrick Rothfuss's amazing prose. And so I balanced it out with, Edge of Eternity and Children of Time. So I'm kind of reading three books at once. So it'll be slower going to finish all three, but I'm enjoying the journey. And I think this is all about keeping it fun anyway. So that's kind of what happened as far as my reading experience. So my next week's plans are definitely to read these and to start a fourth book, of course, because why have three books going on at the same time when you can have a fourth book going on in addition? So the fourth book I'm kind of trying to read is a buddy read actually with John from Disquiet and Dragons, which I'm really excited to kind of dive into. I'm going to start that one tomorrow, and that is Royal Assassin by Robin Hobb. So that's book two of the Farseer trilogy and book two of her larger Realm of the Elderling series, which is like, I think it's like four trilogies and one quadrilogy. So this is the first trilogy. If that doesn't make sense, I'm leaving a diagram here so you can take a look at that. But I love her prose as well. I love her slow burn, cozier fantasy, I guess, for lack of a better term, at least in that first book, Assassin's Apprentice. So I'm really looking forward to both continuing on that journey and also reading with John because he's just such a lovely guy and a lovely booktuber. I'm leaving his link down below, so make sure to check out his channel. Like, he has all this beautiful backdrop of the English countryside, and he talks about books in a way that I really enjoy. So, and he's just such a lovely guy as well. So definitely check out his channel. So that is going to be the four books that I'll be tackling this coming week. Now, as far as what happened this week on the channel, it has been a fantastic week, a flurry of kind of videos that I put on the channel. So, the first video that I put on the channel was a Stephen King shelf tour because, I wanted to kind of show my appreciation to all of you, a lot of which are Stephen King fans and a lot of which have watched my Stephen King videos and then have since subscribed to the channel, and kind of we've had active conversations going in the comment section. So, I wanted to kind of show you my Stephen King shelf back here. I have a whole shelf dedicated to him because he's my favorite author of all time, at least for now, And so I really want to kind of highlight different editions of books and things like that. So I'm linking that video up here so you can check it out up here or up here. And it was a fun kind of journey down memory lane, talking about like the first book I ever bought of Stephen King's, which is kind of a tattered version of Pet Sematary, and all down the line of how I got specific books and how I got kind of harder to find editions. So check that video out if that interests you. And then some of my favorite experiences this week were actually chats with other booktubers. So on Saturday, got a lovely chat in with John from Disquiet and Dragons. And, we talked about our buddy read and kind of analysis of Cujo by Stephen King. We had both read it in June, and so we wanted to put together a live chat. And it was the first live chat on my channel. So I was really excited to kind of get down into the weeds of Stephen King with a fellow Stephen King fan. And we talked for like over an hour on Cujo, and we have a massive non-spoiler section, and then we tell you when there's going to be spoilers as well, so you can kind of always jump off the video if you don't want to be spoiled of anything in due time. But we just love that book. Not much more can be said other than what was said in that video, so definitely check that out. I'm linking that up here. And then this morning on Sunday PST, I got a chance to chat with none other than Cliff from Cliff's Dark Gems. So fantastic horror booktube channel. Actually, a lot of you have since started conversations with me from his channel, and the wonderful shout outs he's given me, over the last couple months since I started. So deeply appreciate you, Cliff. It has been so great chatting with you about all things horror and non-horror, about books and book adaptations and the like. And it was really great being able to chat with so many of you in the chat as well and kind of answer questions in real time. So I'm linking that as well, so you could check that out. And I'm linking Cliff's wonderful channel down below, so you can check that out as well if you haven't done so yet. Now, next week on the channel, I'm still kind of trying to figure out what videos I'm going to put up, actually. It's been so gangbusters this week with both music promotion and then the Booktube stuff, so I still have to kind of plan out what I'm going to do next week. But I have some ideas cooking. I have done a short video that kind of shows my book haul from the library book sale that I had yesterday. And it's just phenomenal how wonderful those library book sales are, and to see a line down the block, like literally down the street, of people waiting to get into a library at 9:30 in the morning on a Saturday is just such a heartening experience, to see that in LA. And so yeah, I'm going to share that as well this week. But beyond that, it's kind of a little bit open season. I'm trying to figure out what would be the best thing for you all. So if you also have any ideas, I got some ideas from some lovely people in the chat, with Cliff, from Cliff's Dark Gems. And I would love some more ideas. So if you think of anything that you would want to see on this channel, let me know, because I always want this to be a dialogue and I never want it to be a one-way conversation. I love chatting with you guys and I love asking you questions. So it's fun. It's a great time to have a dialogue. So let me know in the comments. And then lastly, on the music front was a flurry of things happening this week. So the film that I scored, Dead Whisper, is in theaters now, and it is also available on video on demand on Apple TV, on Google, on YouTube, and on Prime Video. So you could check it out there. And it has been amazing. TikTok has been going gangbusters on the film. So many people have been reviewing it there. And it's been wonderful to see the film actually be rated in a lot of different articles. There was an article released by Collider talking about the best horror films, of 2024, and Dead Whisper was listed in it. And for an indie film, that's just insane for it to be talked about amongst films like Maxine or Longlegs, which are the big, honchos, the highly anticipated horror films. And, I'd worked on, I think I mentioned to you earlier, I'd worked on music for Wheel of Time. So I used a lot of the lessons I learned on recording exotic instruments and, the scoring process for that. I recorded conch shells, I recorded Mayan death whistles, I recorded wind wands, I recorded a Thai instrument called the can. I recorded a 30-piece string ensemble. It was just, and the vocalist of The Wheel of Time recorded on it. We had a percussionist who did all the sounds for Netflix's Hellraiser. So, the Clive Barker adaptation. And so, it's just wonderful when books and music and personal philosophy on creating kind of meet. So this was really that project to do so. So in case you're all curious, because I know some of you have asked me, which I'm so grateful for, I'm leaving the links down below where you could either check out the film, or if you'd like to order the soundtrack, you can order the soundtrack there as well. And that always helps out the channel, of course, no pressure. But if you feel compelled to and you like the music, I'm really proud of it, and I'm really proud of the work we did. And so I'm leaving those links if you want to check it out. And that's a great way to support the channel, because I'm not leaving any, Patreon or anything like that. So if you feel compelled to, that's one way to do so. All right. So that's it from me. I want to know from you guys now. Let me know what happened to you this week. What did you enjoy? What books did you read? What books did you not enjoy? I would love to kind of just have that dialogue with you, like I said. So again, I'm Nikhil with Shelf-Esteem. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe and like if you like this kind of video. And please share with your friends. I want to have more friends to talk to books about. So that's kind of the impetus of starting this channel in the first place, is the dialogue. So anyways, thank you so much. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. I'll see you on the next one. Take care.